are good to go. A very good evening, friends. So yeah, here I be the host from Geeks for Geeks, having a MERN stack years of experience, which is 7 in the IT and as a freelancer. I do have an technical expertise in the MERN stack, including with Vue.js and Java as well. So yeah, today I'm going to give a little nudge and a quick demo of how we are going to look forward our offline and online classes held for the Pune batches, that is for the MERN stack development. So today, let me introduce how we are going to build property rental applications. So people joining me, with me, kindly hold all your questions at the end. So let's move ahead. Thank you. Sharing my screen. So I've created a folder called as PR, upon which we'll create a project structure. Okay, let me create one or more VS Code. Basically how our application is going to look like. I just want to show that, and we could proceed similarly. So this is our front end part, opening the next terminal, which is CD server, starting up my backend. Let me open our localhost 3000. Our development server is starting in. Give me a moment, guys. So yeah, our backend is up and running at server port 301. That's successfully built. I've given the name Dream Nest, but yeah, we're going to build the similar property rental applications for our front end and the back end, where in the front end we are making use of the React. We are making use of Malta GridFS for the file upload and storage in the Mongoose, that is the MongoDB. So yeah, this is how our Gunner page look like. My logo is not printing it over here. Search, it would have the search functionality over the properties which we have listing. So we are a host here. So currently I'm logged in. That's the reason it's showing me all the details if I log out. So initially, our page is going to look like this. A user can register. If already have an account, they can log in. The first name, last name, email, considered. I add, yeah, R3. We are going to add all the validations over the email. That would be the confirm password as 123 as 103. I'm just adding in, uploading any sort of photos. Mm, and I register it over here as 103. I logged in with the same name. Okay. Since I am a normal user, I'm not being a host. So I can go to these properties. Okay. A beachfront, a countryside, I've not added, but you can list it many. I'll tell you how we can list it. These are the countryside listings. Then there is an pool size listings, which we are going to make island side listings. I'm just prepared with a normal API calls where we could post similar to that, what our countryside looks like. So I'll show you one of the things which is of the countryside listings. How can I add it? Similar way we can copy paste the code similar for the beachfront, amazing sign pools, depending on the categories we can explore. Yeah. So this is beachfront. We do not have anything. Countryside, amazing pools, and the island. So considered about this, which I have created. So I can have the sliders. I currently have put it one photo, so we can slide those images. All the details are over here. I have making amount under the dollar per night. I can mark it as a wish list towards myself. So consider if I say I go to this image. So I can have an entire details of this property, which I have given on open spacious, right? Hosted by Shruti K. There's a descriptions, what that place offers, and how long I want to stay over here. So I can drag and drop considered today's second 9 to 12. Okay, I have 3 nights. That's all been calculated within, and I can book it. My API I have not made available for this to work it ahead, but yeah, we are going to move ahead in this manner. Oh, sorry. Okay. Also, there is one more thing is not only we can rent a property, we can post our property for a rental purpose as well. So consider if I click on a host or um, click on a host here. Okay. I see I'll log in with that host ID that I'm acting as a host. Okay. Something's break badly. So if I want to host and I want to create some properties, okay, I can do it as well. Gmail.com. Click on a host. 1 or 3. Okay. If I want to post my property as well, I think I need to add it as an admin where we will be building, not only we are renting the properties, but we are hosting our properties for a rent as well. So let's build one by one at each glance. Our initial page is the user registration page, login and registration page. Let's move ahead. So this is a PR. I'll just open the terminal. Okay. So we have npx create hyphen react hyphen app, which is client. We are setting up our front end part. Give me a second, guys. Meanwhile, our front end part is getting up and running. So what all packages we would be required to build our front-end application? Let me go towards our initial login and register page. That is, we need a .env for our environment files at the backend. We do need an Express.js as in acting as a middleware framework, and we do need a body parser. We do need a body parser for an object to expose the various factories that we create a middleware via an express. Similarly, we do need a material UI, and definitely I'm not going to build the mixins and the CSS over here. I'm going to purely showcase you all people how we can build our applications with the MERN itself. Also, for file upload and fetching all the file details into the front end part, we can make use of Malta. Along with the Malta, we are definitely make use of MongoDB. So for MongoDB to connect, I may require a library called Mongoose and a JSON web token. Also, for encrypting our password over the user registration page, we do need some encrypting built-in modules to support our passwords, and we can make use of bcrypt.js for the same. And of course, we are going to make use of Redux persist. Similarly, since our application is huge, to manage and dispatch our individual things, we are going to make use of Redux State Store. And we are going to make use of nodemon to keep a track on all the files and some built-in scripts. So yeah, give us a moment. Meanwhile, this application is up and running. Since we could see our application is about to up, that is nothing but a React application. Perfect. Let's go to CD client, npm start. So if you run your application, yes, I would like to use another port. Let me open it in the Google Chrome itself. So this is our plain React applications, which is up and running. Let's proceed to the code. So go to our client folder. We could see our package.json. Currently, we haven't added anything in our package.json. So this is by default our React web app, how we set up our React applications. This is app.js, whatever you see over the UI. This is edit React app is nothing but under the div, enclosed under the div tags. So let me remove everything from the div tag along with this class name as well. Okay, with the div tag, we know we do have package.json file, package log.json file to keep the metadata of entire project structures and the dependency folders which we are adding in. Similarly, if I go to public, which is index.html, so you could see those commented lines. I'm eliminating those commented lines because I'm going to add the font to my applications with the help of Google APIs. So yeah, if you go to Google APIs, which are the fonts, Google Font APIs. If you browse over this, consider I want to include my fonts to be Roboto. Go over here. You can explore this page. Okay, I'll get the font. I'll get that embedded code. So copy this entire code. Okay, go over here. Before the title, which is React app, I'm changing it's a property app. Okay, before the title, I'm just pasting this font APIs. Save this. Fine. So you include your Google APIs. Now moving ahead with the source folder. My source I have only app.js. Now let's include some pages to it. So to include the pages, I'm creating a folder called as pages. So new folder called as pages. Inside the pages, I'm having currently 3 pages, which is a home page, register page, and the login page. So I add homepage.jsx. I am including one more, that is register page.jsx. There's one more page called login page.jsx. Okay. Now you can go towards the extension. You can have ES7 snippets in your code. Moving ahead with extensions, you can go and install the snippets. I have already installed this one on my VS Code so that if you make use of these snippets RAFCE, it will provide built-in code in our applications. Similar RAFCE, you have register page, you have RAFCE, which is login page. Okay. Now in the app.js, I'm going to simply include in the app.js. with the help of browser routes from the router DOM. So go ahead, go ahead in the client folder, which is cd client. Okay, I need to include some packages to support it over here, which is npm. I would require the SAS. I would require router DOM for routing purpose, so I may include React hyphen router hyphen DOM. Let's wait for a moment. Meanwhile, our application installs all these packages. So yeah, see, you could see on line number 13 and line number 11, React router DOM and the React, we have included the SAS in it. Okay, moving ahead, I also required some material UI icons and some libraries to support the built-in assets files. So npm along with it, I do need to have add emotions slash react. So these are just the libraries to support your beautifications over the UI end. npm emotion slash style at the rate material UI. We need some icons built in icons libraries. So we are including that as well. Slash material. Okay, we don't need testing. That's it. So what are these emotions slash React, which I've mentioned in the npm packages? These are nothing but used for some styling purposes. So that's an inbuilt library that is designed for writing the CSS styles for JavaScripts, which provides a predictable style composition in our existing code functionality. So best feature about the emotions in React is nothing but it allows you to experience the features like the source maps, the labels, the testing utilities. Both string and object styles are supported with these emotions library. So yeah, you can explore it. There are some embedded code which you can see over the UI or the official page of the emotions hyphen CSS, where you can go ahead and explore how this library can beautify your front end part and how you can install and make use of built-in supports icons in your code. So yeah, meanwhile, this gets downloaded. There are a lot of ways to use the emotions. The easiest way is to directly install it in this manner. And talking about the performance of this library, it's really flexible to have your CSS and JS library. Um, yeah, and it allows you to apply your styles quickly within the strings. If somebody haven't worked on the mixins, they can really trap down the details of how these emotions is performed and flexible to CSS. So if you want to cache when there isn't heavy data for a developer experience to provide your CSS at Park, Emotions provided great performance and heavy caching in both development and in the production state as well. So for this, we do not need a Babel plugin because it enables some optimization and customization that could be beneficial for our projects. So no external library or plugin supported is required for the same. Great. Since we have made the packages up and running, we can move ahead with those pages. Um, Basically, our app.js, where I'll remove this logo first of all. Import browser router, routes, and route. Go ahead. These components have been included from React router DOM. So what are these browser router, route, and the routes in React? So browser router is nothing but it stores the current location and the browser address bar, making use of clean URLs and navigates navigation using the browser's utility in the history stack. So when I talk about this, we do have supportive towards the link tags. But yeah, browser router, which is a router implementation for HTML5 browsers. And we make use of link that was initially introduced to support and replacement of the anti tags. So moreover, when I talk about the implementation which uses the HTML5, I'm talking purely upon the HTML5 history API, which includes the post states, replay states, pop states, events, to keep your UI in sync with the URL. Okay. Within the div tag, I'm gonna write the browser tag and the routes. So I'll include the browser router. Within the browser router, I'm gonna include the router, which is routes. There are many routes, so depending on which we are going to provide that specific component to render. There is a route module where, depending on the path, I'm gonna make use or inhibit that particular component. So inhibit means we make use of element over here, which will render that specific home page self-closing tag. Okay, I've included the home page. The tag is not. Since I say it's a self-closing tag, that's it. Route path is equals to this, element is equals to this. Copy, paste this 3 times. Why? Because there would be a home page, there would be a login page. So my clean URL would be slash login. Currently it's a localhost hosting. So yeah, localhost 3002 slash login, and there would be a register page. So simply I'll register. Towards this, we're gonna have a login page. We are gonna have the register page. Okay. So in all of the pages, I have added none of the code to include. So moving ahead, I just go through the property app browser. Okay. The JS misspelled it. Report vitals. 1 second. Yeah, I have removed that report vitals. Let me remove this as well. Zooming in. So since it's a slash localhost, basically it's a home page. Go to slash login. That's a login page, and simply go to the register. It's a register page. So on and so forth. It's good up till now. Okay. Now let's move ahead with the register page. So for the register page, let me build some GSX first, and then we can move ahead with adding the hooks to manipulate our data. So I'll remove this register page div. Within the div, I have one more div, and then would be a form. Why I'm writing in this manner? So yeah, this div will have class name, which is nothing but a register. Okay, copy this. So if you go to the running app, so this is our entire app which has some background image. That's our main div. Within that div, we have the content. Okay, so if you inspect it, this is our register. This is our register content. And within that register content, we have a form. Move ahead with our code. Register, register content. And the class name would be register content form. I'm going to add the mixins over here to beautify my code. Okay. And there would be an on submit as well, but currently I'm not adding it. So yeah, our input, there would be some placeholders which says first name, last name, which have first name, last name, email, password, confirm password, upload your photo. There would be a register button and there should be a link. If a user have already an account, they can log in over here. So placeholder, let me add first name. Then there is a name which says first name. I'm using camel casing. Okay. The value would be equal to, currently I'm not adding the value, just the name, no on change, and it is required. Okay. So this input is a self-closing. Copy paste this. Also, people, going forward to your extensions, do mention the prettier for formatting all your JSON object. Okay. So we need first name, last name, email, password, confirm password, and there's an upload photo. So yeah, file upload. And there would be a button which says register. And of course, there would be an href for already signed user. Okay, let me go and change the placeholder name. This would be last name. This is an email. This is a password. Name is password. confirm password, confirm password. And this you need to upload the image. So for that, input type would be image, right? So the type would be file. I don't know about the placeholder. It is required for sure. So type would be equal to file. And our name would be equal to profile image. And it is required. Similarly, for the password, type would be password. Why? Because if you go to the register page of yours, so there's a name, there's an email, there's a password. So password won't be visible. Choose a file. I'm okay to choose a file. This is a register button, and there's a already signed user. So already signed user, we need to have already have an account, log in here. Okay, we need to beautify everything. So go ahead. For the password, I say placeholder, let stay as type is equals to password. I copy this type as password, paste it over here. So if you go to this UI, see those are not visible at the end user point of perspective. Okay, already signed user. Let's make it a change towards this. This is nothing but we're going to have already have an account. Already have an account? If yes, so log in over here. Perfect. Now, if you have an account, definitely a user should redirect to a login page. So slash login would be my hyperlink. Okay. And if you could see, already have an account, click on that, it's going to slash login page. But over the register page, what my ask is, okay, somewhere else is printed. The ask for this is required until and unless I won't be able to register. So also, if you could see, this is a file chosen that looks very unambiguous when you want to include anything of your photos over here. So go over here, right? If you could see, I want to tag this choose file with that image. So depending on that, it would be able to select. So go ahead. I'll have some label over there. So after the input type file, let me add some a label, which have some image src. Source is nothing but slash assets. We do not have such, but yeah, slash assets slash add image dot png. So for very quick purpose, I'm gonna include some assets folder, and also this favicon. Okay, client assets. So if you go over here, you could see the assets. Okay, I have drag and drop in very different location, public sources, pages, assets must be inside the public. Okay, yet not we have not completed our coding. Moving ahead, add image.png is there, assets. This is add image.png. Okay, this is my photo. Similar to this, if the photo is not present, I'll add alternative, which is add profile photo. This would be self-closing. Okay, and there should be a paragraph which says upload your photo. So if you could see, there's uploaded photo, still the choose file is visible. So me to wipe it out, I need to add a label with a ID. So this input type is a file. I add the ID is nothing but an image and label, which is HTML4 F capital would be match with the ID given into that input. And my ID is nothing but an image. Okay, save this. One more thing is missing. ID had been added. Okay. With this, on a click of this image, I'm able to choose anything I want, right? I didn't want to show this choose file kind of a stuff on the UI looks very unclear. So for which, under that input type file, I'm going to add the style, which says, which accepts only images. Images can be JPEG, can be PNG. So I give it a star along with a style which says display colon none. That would be enclosed within the single quotes. Okay, that is gone. So if you click on this image, that is going to ask you to include your images. Okay, now to beautify everything, I need to include some CSS. So that CSS would be built in. Okay. Go to here. I'm including the built-in style folder since I'm not going to walk you through track and sources. Sorry, it is under the source folder. I'm going to include it into the source. These are the built-in styles. Okay. If you collapse this source styles and if you go to register.scss, so yeah, those are important ones. So this is register. We'll have this one things. I have register underscore content. The content will have this kind of in CSS to be applied. Okay, and for the form, I have this property to be get applied. Similarly, I have mentioned it over it. Register, then underscore content and underscore form. Let's move ahead and import these in our code. So import styles slash register dot .scss. Save this, move ahead. Yeah, similar to this, I've not added the background image. Fine. So we're able to add all the names, emails. So email can be added with thing, right? So does it supports even this to this to this to this? Even if this is required. So it didn't tell me that my image or email is to be perfect email. So for that, I must include here type would be email. So as a user to appropriate type its email. So if I'm adding something, no, that's wrong. That won't accept. See, please include @ in your email address as a prompt. Okay, so you need to include your perfect email address. Moving ahead with our register page, we need a data, kind of a data, whatever user is registering in to store in a format, for which I'm going to make use of use effect and a use state. Use effect to mimic the life cycle of the class-based components, along with the use state for managing the state of these fields provided in the UI. So let me go ahead and include those. Also a navigate, use navigate, within which even if I, on the click of that activity, if I want to navigate somewhere else, I can. So let me include use effect, use state. These are from React. Let me import use navigate. These are from React Router DOM. Okay. Moving ahead with this, I have not yet finished with the JSX element. Let me create first a register page with a JSON object. So I'm using constant, which says form data, comma, set form data, which says use state, which has an object called as first name, which is an empty string. We have a last name, which is again an empty string. So these names should get matched with what input fields names we have presented. Email, again, initially it's an empty string. Again, we have passwords, which is again an empty string. Moving ahead with confirm password, which is again an empty string. And our profile image initially to be null. Profile image initially to be null. Okay, these are JSON objects. So these names and these names should match, which I have highlighted. Let's have a functionality. Depending on each change, there must be an handle change in those of the inputs, right? So let's have a change handler. Before that, we know to each of these inputs, there is a value now added. Value would be form data, sorry, form data dot first name. This would be the value mapped along with on change functionality. On change would have a handle change handler. Okay, I misplaced this place. On change would be handle change. Yeah, it's not defined somewhere else. We need to define it. Copying this, paste it in every field. So form data, this would be a last name. This would be email. This would be password. Is it a passwords? Okay. I must change it. It's a password. Okay. There would be form data dot confirm password, and this would be profile image. We are good to go. These are showing red marks because we have not included the handler, that is on change event handler. So let's move ahead and introduce that as well. Go ahead, introduce the const handle change, which is a fat arrow function, so as to bind the data in the fat arrow function. So const, we have name, comma value, along with the files, whichever that has been introduced. Okay, this would have e dot target dot value. We need to set that form data depending on these values. So set form data, which is name colon value, and we need to check also name colon name. If it is equal to profile image, what you need to do is we need to add, as we know, with the input type file, we always have our files introduced at 0th element. So we say files at 0 element. Otherwise, if not, whatever the value is, imbibe it. Perfect. Also, yeah, let's go and make a change first. I want to showcase one change as well before closing even this. Console.log. I want to log form data. Okay, moving ahead with the console. It's Shru. C. The first name it has not taken. K. So first name is taken. Okay. Now K is taken. Shru K is taken. So what is happening is it's taking an object one by one. So if you see my first name had wiped out, it is showcasing me only the last names. Even if it is a password, see, confirm password, upload image. So I need to have in sync with all of these JSON objects. For me to syncing, I do need to represent Control X. If not here, here, here you can see it as well. See, it is pointing me towards this object, not the entire object. For me to point the entire object, I need to include a spread operator with the form data so as to keep the input intact with its changes. So form data, comma. Okay. Now, if you refresh the page, first name is this. So you could see first name is also is intact with the last name. If I need to include the email, so first name, last name, and email. Okay. Yeah, this is throughputing me output twice because in our index.js file, we have introduced react.strict mode, which inbuilt reciprocate our DOM elements twice. So if you remove that, it will only render that once. Fine. So our handle change is working as expected. Moving ahead with the password change, we need to keep a track of password as well. If I'm adding 1, 2, 3 here and 4, 5, 6, so it's not manipulating my passwords. So I need to write a code to match and check whether my password and confirm passwords are matched or not. For which I make use of constant password match, comma, set password match, which says use state as initially it's true. Okay. Now within our use effect, Within our use effect, I'm going to add the set password match functionality, which matches the form data.password, which is equal to triple equal to form data dot confirm passwords. If it's so, or form data confirm password, check if it is equals to empty string. You need to set the password if both are equal. Otherwise, the confirm password let be settled to empty string. Okay. Moving ahead, let's have go below for the password check. So we have first name as its place, which is placeholder name value on change required, similar to that of the last name, which has name value on change and required. We have email, which have the type included, which have the value, and the on change event. Now we need to go to password. Okay. Confirm password. After the confirm password, we're going to introduce if not the password match. If password is not matched, we need to prompt some message. That message would be with the help of p tags, which says style, let it be the color red. I misplaced the color name. Let this style be color red, which says passwords. Paragraph styles be the color red, which says passwords are not matched. Passwords are not matched. And if you move ahead down with input ID as image, we do have ID type accept image style name value, which accepts image on change handle change event and the required fields. Our image sources are its place, but what if my profile image is bigger in pixels? I need to fix it. I cannot add entire page application. Yes, red is not defined. Why? Because that should be enclosed within the single quotes. Password match 123 456. Passwords are not matched, which is working. But what if my image is too big? Considered larger image. This is the larger image value property. Okay, that's needs to be fits into this context. For that to fits in, I need to add some manipulation of the styles, which is after the label, check if my form data dot profile image and which says image img with src. Okay, before me introducing what my source would be, so I'm gonna make use of source create object. So url dot create object URL I'll make use of. Why? Uh, Adding the source every time. 1 second. Yeah. So I do not want to add any absolute URL. I need to create a relative URL with the link for which I'm gonna introduce with the source, that is URL dot create object URL. If you could hover on this, you can get the MDN reference. So this is for the static methods, static URLs. Okay. So if you go to the documentation of the mlane, you would get why we are using it for the file. So to create an object URL for that image. Okay. Yeah, what I do need to mention is within that URL, I need to include form data that of that my file, which is nothing but my profile image. If that is not present, so I may use alt, which says profile photo. I may style my added image with max width of 80 px. 80 pixels I have kept. Okay, close this image tag. Save it. So if you scroll down this image, if I go to source, public, this favicon icon, value property. One second. Sorry, value property cannot be this way. It's only on change. Since I copy paste the code, load the image, that should be of 60 pixels, 80 pixels. So if you inspect it, this is of max width of 80 pixels. Zoom into 100%, close this. So this image is within that content itself. Okay. So yeah, login over here, going to the login page, /home, going to this home page. Okay, if it is at the register page is doing well. Now we need to have a connection with the backend, right? For the backend, I'm going to go to Cloud MongoDB, register with your user ID and password. So since I'm already logged in, I may use of this Cloud MongoDB. I've just logged into Cloud MongoDB. That's it. Now moving ahead with our backend code, let me close everything over here. New terminal. Make a directory called server for our Node.js code. cd server. Okay. If you go to server, I need to create a folder structure for the backend from scratch. So for which I will say initially npm install -g global and nodemon first. After that nodemon, I need to have npm init -y to create my package.json. So if you would see, there's no author, nothing else. It's just a plain package.json file. Moving ahead, for the backend, since I said whatever it is needed, we'll include those. Now we install in one go, which is npmi. We require express Nodejs. We do require body parser. We do require bcrypt for encrypting our passwords, right? We cannot let our password stays in the database as it is. Bcrypt.js I'm using. I need cause for cross origin resource. .env for environment variable files. I do need a JSON web token ahead, but I'm including it right now. JSON Web Token. I need a multer for file upload, and similar to file uploaded file to reside under my backend, which is a database that is MongoDB. I need grid nodes, gridfs, multi gridfs hyphen storage. So, well, in that case, if you want to include the packages of that specific endpoint, we can simply add multi. We need to have a caret. I need some particular versioning number of the multi. So I can go ahead and add, consider I want 1.1, 4.4. I can go ahead and add it. Similarly, I need a mongoose to connect my MO. Okay, it's a storage. Mongoose to connect the Mongo DB. Click on enter, let it get installed. Multi-caret 1.4.1. Did I miss anything? Multi-caret at the rate I have missed out. So all are from line 13 to line 22. All the packages have been included. Also, I do need to, there is no start scripts written at the backend. So under the scripts, I may include one more thing, which is nothing but a start. Sorry. Starts which says nodemon always run my index.js file, which is a main file in the backend. I'll write the code for index.js as well, comma. Okay, included. Now, our backend folder structures only of the node modules package.json and package.log.json. Let me close entire thing. Close all. Okay, now we'll include one by one all the files and the server. Initially, I'll include first is index.js file. Along with index.js file, I do need a router folder for routing purpose, routing to that particular authentication. Okay, and I need a user schemas to build for me to add the data or a JSON object into the database from a backend. So I'll add a folder called as models for prescribing the schemas. I'll add the folder called as routes for adding those authentications. So moving ahead with first of our index.json file, const express is equals to require express, const app would be equal to express. Moving ahead, we need const mongoose is equals to require mongoose We need .env, so const .env for environment variables. We're not making use of it, but in our code, we're going to make use of it. That is .env, which requires config. Okay, we need to configure those environment variable files. Then and only then we can make use of inbuilt process.env, whatever we are making use of some constant terms. Similarly, we can go ahead with const to course. Course is equals to require course. We have Express, we have Mongoose, we have .env, and we have course. Okay, now let me use all of them one by one. So app.use course. Similarly, app.use express.json to manipulate our data in JSON format, and app.use express 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 dot static. So to recite all the files from the front end, those are the static files. Let it reside under the public folders. Okay. Now let me define the routes. So here are routes. So my initial route would be the auth route, which we get it from the route folder. Right? But me, before defining the routes, let me have the Mongo setup. I'll define the routes. Similarly, I'll have Mongo setup const port. Since our application is running on 3.0.1, I'm making it 3.0.2. Okay. Mongoose dot connect to process dot env will include the environment variable file where our connection to the database would happen. So with the constant variable name called as mongo underscore URL. There would be a DB name, okay, which says property, and I'm making use of new URL parser, which is set to true. I'm using use unified topology. Set it to true. If the connection went successful, then it will come towards a dot then callback call, which says let our app dot listen to that port which we have mentioned above, and that port should console.log. I'm using backtext, which says server port is equals to dollar port dot catch. If something went, if our connection fails to our database, let it catch the error and says console.log Define that error within the backticks, dollar curly braces, err. Define that error within that console, that is, did not connect. Okay. Before me defining the routes, let me see whether from the backend, whether my database is getting connected or not. So go to your cloud database. I'm just dropping every of the collections. Drop. Okay. Once you logged in over the cloud MongoDB, go to network access. I've included one. You can go and have an IP address. Add the current IP address, which will choose the current IP address, or you can go on ahead with the public ones. So if I go and delete this, add an IP address. So allow access from anywhere. So it would be 000. Confirm this. Okay. Then there is a database access. I have included a user. You can go and add a new user to your database, provide some password, but the built-in role would be read and write to any database and proceed. I've already created a user with the password. With the built-in roles, one is selected. If you go, I have selected read and write to any database. Update that user. Go towards the database now. Click on connect. Since if you browse the collections, there is no residing database since you have not connected anything with it. Let me drop all the which underscore all the database entry. So refresh this, browse the collection. There's no database, right? Go to database, connect, go to the drivers, which is Node.js 5 and 5 point later. We have already installed the MongoDB. Copy this entire application code for connecting your database to the backend. So MongoServe. So this character anchor tags of the passwords will include the password which you have created while using your user. So go ahead with this on the server, create .env file. So env we have mongo underscore URL, which is this one. And I added the password. Save this. Since our package.json is up and running, I just simply say npm start. It should give me that it is port is running on 3.0.2. See, it's connected. Our Mongo database connection is connected. Browse the collection. Nothing has added from the front end side. We need to stitch the backend with the front end, for which initially we need some authentication, some routes to happen, right? And that API needs to export in the front end. That is by a post call. Okay, for which we need to add auth.js and routes. Within that auth.js, there's a constant router which require which you will require express router. So express dot router. We need to encrypt the password which says bcrypt is require bcrypt.js. Similarly, JWT would be required further in our code. Require JSON web token and constant Malta require Malta for file upload. We do need a user schemas as well, but before that, I need to configure a Malta for file upload. So let me say configuration of Malta file upload, within which I'm making use of the variable called as storage, with inside which I'm going to allocate the Malta.disk storage. So if you hover on this, so it returns the storage engine's implementation configured to store the files in the local file system. Okay, under which we're going to have an object which have destination and the file name. So destination is again a function which have request comma file which we are including and a callback value. Depending on that callback value, consider if my callback is null. I'm gonna pass the first parameter as null. If I found any file on the UI which does want to reside under my backend with the help of Malta, I need to store that uploaded file in some folder for which I'm choosing an upload folder. So I will create a public folder since in our front end part, public assets, whatever files and images are there which are residing in the public folder. So I'll also give here the name called as public slash uploads would be my folder name. I'm not yet created, I'll create it and keep it. So every time whenever user upload any image on the UI, that is going to reside under this path. Okay. Similarly, a file name, which is again a function which we have request comma file and a callback value. That callback value first parameter would be the null, and my file should reside under the public upload file under that particular file original name. So file dot original name. Okay. So this is to make use of uploaded file to use its own original tags. Nothing we added any fancy. Okay. This is close. This is done. Now this is residing under the storage file. Go ahead with const upload is a keyword. Under which I'm passing Malta to pass this entire storage object. So I can have storage, comma, since the naming convention is similar, I'll just keep a storage. Okay, now here comes a part where user needs to register. So I'll say user registration. So make use of express route. So router.post, that's a post call on. Post call is on slash register u URL. Okay, for which I'm adding this Malta upload as a middleware. So upload this acts as a middleware. Upload dot single file. I want to upload single file at a time, and that ID was profile image, with which I have async operations, which we have request comma response, which is a fat function which says try catch block. So within try, Within our try, we are going to add and manipulate the form data, which we want to take the information from the UI perspective. So within the try, I must say my first objective is to take information from the form, right? For which I make use of constant file name, sorry, first name. I'm destructuring those elements, last name, email, and password I want to destructure. Okay, that is going to come via request.body. After which I'm gonna check whether the uploaded file is available or not in request.file, right? So uploaded file is available or not. So for which I make constant profile image would have request.file. Okay. If not profile image, if not a profile image, kindly go and return the status 400. Return response.status equals to 400 with some message says no file had been uploaded. Okay. If the file had been uploaded, you need to path that uploaded file. Give the path. Okay. So we need constant profile image path. That is profile image dot path. Where is the path residing? So as to put into my destination. Right. If the logged in user, we also need to check if the user exists is a new user or an existing user. So we do not want the duplication of the data to reside in our database. So check if user exists. So for which we need to have constant existing user. If it's so, then await. So me before adding some code, I need to have some user schemas defined. So I'll drop it over here. Okay. First, we'll go and create our schemas. Create a user.js because without which we are not going to know which fields to map. So in our user schema, I mentioned constant mongoose is equals to require mongoose, within which const there would be user schemas. Constant user schema, I'm going to connect with the word mongoose, new mongoose dot schemas. I need to depart my JSON structure, which is nothing but the first name that type is a string. Type is a string, and of course, we have mentioned already it is required. So required is equals to set it to true. I copy this, I paste it multiple times. Why? This is the first name This is the last name, which is again in string. This is an email, not a name. Type is string, required is true, but every time the email needs to be unique. So unique is set to true, or else it will trigger as the duplicate value. Then we have the password. Password whose type is string and required is true. Again, we need a profile image path. So this is my profile image path. Profile image path type is string and required is equals to true. We're not adding anything over here. It's just a login and logout page, right? And the reservations upon which we have timestamps set it to true. I think this JSON object needs to be added after this. Correct. Now, after adding this JSON structure, I'll just make use of constraint user, which is mongoose.model. Whatever model we have created, let that name be user, which is nothing but we are passing all the user schema under the user. Okay, and we need to export this user module. So module.exports, which is nothing but this user object. Since we have exported it, right, let's move ahead back to the auth.js. Initially, we need to include these models in our auth.js. So before configuring our multi-file upload, let's have constant user, which is equals to require. Give that path as from models slash users. Great. So to check if the user is existing, I make use of these user schemas, which I can have find one. Find one. Since how can I find if the user is residing already or not? Since I made email as unique with the help of that a unique element. So that element is passed within it. So if existing user, if it is an existing user, we need to say return response.status. Again, the status would be 409, which says JSON, which have message, and I'm imparting the message that user already exists. Okay. Now consider that password which is residing under the database is similar to the encrypted password from the front end part. We need to recite that password, not exposed to any end user in our backend to see. So we need to hash that password. So I'm hashing the password here. I'll just say pwd with the help of bcrypt. So constant salt is equals to await bcrypt dot gensalt, which says constant hash passwords would be equal to await bcrypt dot hash. Bcrypt dot hash itself is a function which takes two arguments. Password is an argument, salt, which is nothing but the encrypted password to match. That's in hash passwords. Moving down, if that if the user is not existing user, we need to create that user, right? So after this, I must say create user, or we create a constant. New user would be a new user. New user have, we already have these schemas. First name, last name, we have email, we have password, right? Password now would be mapped with hashed passwords. Also, there is a profile image part we have mentioned. Okay. Save this. It's still the try moving ahead. It's showing. Why? Because we have not enclosed with it the catch. Now you need to save this user. After this, save the user. Oh wait, new user dot save. Okay. On success of this, you need to send the response message that it is user added successfully or registered successfully. So I say response dot status, which is of course a 200 dot JSON. JSON will have a message which says user registered successfully, and you need to provide that user colon new user object. If not, if something goes unwell, we catch in a catch block the error, and we need to ask the response.status. Initially, I'll have console.log error here. So response.status, if something goes well, the response status would be 500.json, which says message colon registration failure. Here, so error would be error dot of that message. So let's go and check whether from the front end part our backend is connecting or not, since we have created our user schemas, right, along with our auth paths. But before that, one second, we have missed one thing, that is the front end part. In front end part, which is not the public source app.js, we have mentioned everything. Go to the pages, register page.jsx. So in the register page.jsx, we have not initiate a code with a post call to fetch. So go ahead and add that. So with the use effect, we have it, but we have not introduced our form on submit what needs to be done. So first add the handler form on submit, which is a handle submit. On submit, handle submit. Since I've not included it, that's why it's showing an error. Password is equals to none. So after this, I'm gonna add constant handle submit would be an async call where we pass our event.target.values with a fat arrow function which says event.prevent default. So as a page not to get redirected, let it stays till now. There would be try. One second. There would be try and a catch block if something goes unwell, right? Within the try, I'm gonna add a new object of form data, which reside under the variable const register underscore form, which says new form of data, new form data. Okay. I'll make use of for where the key into that form data. So I need to iterate through each elements of the JSON object in the form data. What I need to do is with that for, I need to append that each element in the register form value. So register form dot append would have key, comma, form data of key. Okay. With that, I need to have constant response would be await fetch. I'm making use of fetch. So HTTP backslash localhost. Our localhost is residing on 3002 as my port number. Okay. Slash auth slash register because auth is where my manipulation of the user existing user and password has is maintained. Okay. That resides under the register slash register. Okay. Now with that, I need a comma. Why? Because I need to mention the method. So my method is a post method that enclosed into double quotes, and the body would be register form. Perfect. Let's move ahead. If response dot okay, if response dot okay, whether I'm able to fetch my data or not, then I need to navigate to a login page. So for that navigation, I have all, if you could see, I've already included use navigate. So for which, before handle submit, I can make use of these words. That is constant navigate is equals to use navigate, not use navigate hook. And similar that hook, I can mention below. That is navigate to a login page slash login. Considered if the response is not okay, then we need to imbibe in the catch method. So go to catch, which have error as a parameter, within which I'm trying to locate the console.log. So console.log will have registration failed again. And my error dot message. Perfect. So my front end code is in place, right? let's go back at the backend. Before that, we have included our HTML tags, but button is itself an we have added a register. There is no some action that has been impersonating on the register button. So yes, the type is definitely a submit and disabled, not password match. Go back to the previous code where we have written auth.js. Okay. So where this URL comes from, auth comma register. If you go to auth, register is my post method is slash register. And I am having a post call from the auth.js file. That's how I'm route has been created. Okay. Now if you go now, data collections have been added. So go over here, get slash register. Okay. It is going to fail. Why? Because we have not exported this module. Module.export is nothing but my router. Saved it. There's a warning it's failing from the front end part. No, I don't think so. Packet is intact. Let me inspect what went wrong. Server error. It is not found. Okay. We can go at the backend. In our index.js file, do we have mentioned app routes? Routes have not mentioned. App.use from the auth. I need user route. That is auth route. Sorry. Okay. So slash auth slash register. That is my route part. This is the Mongoose connection. I think that would suffice. So let's check whether that auth route is still being error. No, it's not giving any error. Okay. Moving ahead, I clear the console, go to my network tab, it's already done. Let's have team @gmail.com. Password is, see if I'm typing incorrect passwords, it's throwing me error. So MD13, upload some photos, adding them favicon. Clear this. Now network is going very well. Register. Let's check. It is failing. Payload, if you could see, whatever details have been added that have already went well. In the response headers, 404, the post call is because of the referral, strict origin, strict origin when cross origin, which means go ahead, post call is failing. So for our post call to work, there's one more thing we need to add. That is express.json, the cause is failing, the cause to work betterly. This is only a client server editors.js file. Let me open with yeah, you can include options of this. File, open folder. Within that PR, I do have this index.js to allow smoothly. Control C, CD client, npm start, and another terminal, CD server. Yes. Node one has crashed. It shouldn't ideally. Let's wait for my application to be up and running because I have by mistakenly closed everything. Okay, our server port is running on 3.0.2. This is working well. Let's this. This shouldn't be crashed. This is up and running. Let our backend should work. npm start. Node one is pointing to index.js. Server is starting /auth. For me to include that auth, I need to have constant auth routes is equals to require dot slash from routes slash from auth.js. Okay, our backend is up and running, which is working at server port 3.0.2. Frontend is up and running. Hold on, found slash login. This is working perfect. Terminate the front end bar npm start. Npm clear cache, I would have done it. It's running on port 302. What is deprecated? It's running on 303. Fine. Localhost 3003. This is an home page. This is a login page. Perfect. Zooming in. This is a register page. Zooming out. So let's clear the console, even the network tabs. Moving ahead with the console, I add Alvador1, aldor@gmail.com. The password is, if it's not match, it's validating. Upload the photo from the favicon, which is of 80px. Now, click on the register. It should redirect to the login page. Post call is failing. Post call is failing. Let me see. We go to home page. It's 303. Sorry. Localhost is 303. Auth/register. It should reside under 303. Let it compile. Perfect. It's compiled. I'm just clearing all the data. Click on the register image. Failing. //user. So we do have our response.fetch call at localhost 303/auth/register, which is this one, registration failed. Move ahead with the backend part that has not stitched properly. If you go to auth.js, let's check what it's failing. Okay, there's a mod user, there's a storage, there's a multi-storage, router post to the register, which is a user's registration. Post call is failing over here. Profile image, single profile image needs to upload. I'm destructuring it. Requested file, if not profile file, user not uploaded, find one, hash the passwords. We have created the new user identity. We have saved the user. This is where it's failing at 500. We need to check it. The error. The error says phone not phone, handle submit. Fetch call is failing. Register page.jsec, HTTP localhost 300 /localhost 303 auth/register. So let me have a point over here where it's fair. Click it. Maybe cache issue. Let's check once more time whether if it is working or not, right? So this is a new console opening. Network tabs are all clear. I'm adding a new data towards it. Some says upload some image, clear the console. We have our sources Control Shift P, which is register.jsx. Here's an await call, post call, if that's an error. Okay, response.ok is false. Let me check my or.js where it is failing. So let's move ahead with or.js files one more time. Maybe some of the other thing would be missing from my end. Bcrypt is done. Models we have included. We have included the destination. We have included the public upload. Okay, we have not included that in the server. There must be a folder called as public, right? Within which there should be a folder called as uploads. Okay, go ahead, refresh this page, refresh this page. Okay, password is yes. Upload some favicon. Now, before trying to register, I'm just clearing all the consent. If it is okay, so we have particularly mentioned our file uploads and public uploads that should reside. Okay, that is again perfect. Multiple storages of storage of storage. In the post registration call, I'm uploading the single file with the profile image, which have async request. I have destructured all the elements. I have taken the profile image from the requested file. If not that image, that has been checked. Existing user have checked with find one who have email ID to be unique. Depending on that, user already exists or not. With the hash passwords, we have already decrypted with the help of gensalt inbuilt method, and we have similarly parsed those passwords and the decrypted passwords into the hash passwords. We have mapped those as passwords when the user is newly created, and we have saved the users that the user is successfully registered with the app 200. Okay, since we are not logging the user, we have exports our router. Okay, go to our index.js file. We have included the Express as a middleware and use it via app. We have included the Mongoose. We have used .env config file. We do have include the cause for cross origins not to happen. We do have included the auth routes with the routes folder. We have make use of cause express to imbibe all the cause issues we have included with the stars. We have make use of express for the static files uploads. We make use of routes which is slash auth, which is coming from line number 6, which is auth routes, which we have already included in our work. Then we have used a Mongoose port of 3002, where we are connecting to process.env.mongo URL, where our database name is property. We are making use of URL parser to be true and unified topology to be true. We have listened to that port where our backend is intact, up and running. So what will went wrong is our front end part. Check app.js. So within the app.js, I have only included the routes, that is for the login and the register. If you go towards the pages of the register page.jsx, okay, so within that register page, one second, it's quite slow. So you have made use of useEffects hook, that is from the React useEffect, use shape, use navigate. We've included our CSS files. We have structured our form data JSON. We have input handler change value with spread operator to keep our changes intact. Also, we have make use of the use state hook for password match. Then we move ahead with use effect hook where we set our password match. If not, let that confirm password be an empty string. We have to make use of use navigate hook to navigate once the user is registered. For the form handle submit, we have make use of handle submit handler where our try says register form data. We create a new form data object where each key in that form data is being appended to this register form. Okay. Upon that, we have fetch our localhost. Localhost is 3003 slash auth slash register. Method is forced with the register form if response is okay, if not. And our JSX. So our JSX is also is intact. So what can fail is nothing but our env. So sorry, I didn't want to move it. Go to env file. Within the env file, we do have mention our MongoDB URL, which have some password. So let me do one thing. Let me create another user. Or let's go and change a password. Database access to that specific user. Edit. I just edit the password. Password name is the built-in role is read and write. I update the user. Database has not yet been created. I just click on connect. The drivers. Copy this entire thing. Control V. within the password. Save this .env file. Vayana here. Load that favicon. I make use of this logo p. Click on the register. It's failing. With cross origin. Since we have mentioned index.js, let me see. Refresh this. I think I need to create a new user itself. Even that post call is failing. Let me check if yeah, we do have property database. What I'll do is I'll just drop this collection itself, create database, browse collection. I just dropped this database itself. No caching of all the details. Let me refresh this. I hope this time it's work. Mismatch of the passwords can happen. Why? Because I'm using existing created database. Let me see. Register form data is no form data. Whether that appended key is not being appended. Beautiful, it has thrown up. When do I register.jsx? Where register form is a new form of data. Where key in that particular form data pending. Just a form. Let me see if on the UI whether it is going or not. Sources, we are at here. Let me swap the existing ports to run. Okay. See whichever I'm using. Let me make use of these ports index.js 3.0.1 and register.jsx should run on 3.0.0. Let's check. npm clear cache. Let us see what happens if I run this. Something is deprecated. Let me make use of this Microsoft Edge. Again, go back, browse the collections. I need to drop that collections because I didn't want the mismatch functionality to happen. Nothing is there. Everything is intact. Right. Homepage/register. First name is Shruti K. Upload these photos. Baron cat. Inspect it over here. The post call is still failing because of 404. One second. Disable if not password match. Login. We do have HTTP itself. /auth. We have mentioned /register /auth within the auth routes. Mongo URL is connecting to this, which is .env. Oh, no, not a big mistake. Env is having, one second. Copy this Mongo underscore URL. Mongo underscore URL. Shruti, which is nice. Mongo's connection is intact. Bad authentication, okay. Authentication had failed, did not connect. So is the reason of our post call. Go ahead and check. This is running on port 3001. What I'll do is go to network access, initial steps. This is intact. I'm using access entry list as a current IP address. I can. Database access. I just delete this. I just add a new user. Say user underscore one. Add a built-in rule, which is read and write database. Add the user underscore one. Go back to your database. Go to the connections. Go to the drivers. User underscore one, and I just need to add the password. The password Let me go and database access, user edit the password itself. It's a SAN23. Update the user, database, connect, drivers, copy this driver link. In my .env file, SAN23. Okay, saved it. Let's drop Node 1 to restart. I hope the connection build is successful. Correct. And I hope that it works. Localhost 3000 register, Control Shift I, Vayana, C. Upload the photos, favicon. Remote address is this. Network access. Allow access from anywhere. Its status is not active. Let's wait for a moment. So wait for a moment for database to drop. I think there's a network action to take place against. Hold on a second. I'm just making my code to be live, up and running. Let's our front end be up and running. Development server has not been yet started, so I'm waiting for it to start. Hope so far Node 1 doesn't crash us. Give me a moment. Perfect. Our front-end app is up and running. Okay, let's add another details. Share the screen. Once again. I still lost it once more time. Save the changes. Node doesn't crash us down. So every places is intact. Server's running on board. This has been a successful build. Front-end part. Yeah, everything is in stacked. Let's move ahead with the front end to check if it's still facing the same issue. Control Shift I. Vayana C. Upload the favicon. And I try to register. Perfect. It is moving ahead with login page. So I've added this page initially. Go back to the cloud. MongoDB, go to your database, go and browse the collections. This is the property. Property have users, first name, last name, Viana K. I'm just added the schemas of the other files, but yeah, it should reside in the profile part. So if you go to here, the database is getting created. All property files are intact. And if you move ahead, the issue. The issue was with the course, which I have included number 9. That's the star. So yeah, moving ahead with what, let me reshare my screen. So what our property data looks like, property render applications look like. Let me completely take my app up and running. So if you go to the property tab, this is how a what page looks like, okay, which is a built-in property which I've added. So if you go ahead here, so within the source folder, I'm just generally driving through what pages that have been mentioned. So inside the paging, we do have our home page where we have mentioned our sliders, our navbars, and the categories and the listings. The footer page. Inside the create listings, we do have um, what kind of a property you want to add. So depending on that property, we have provided the location, the basic counts, the number of guests, and so on. So this page listing, let's deep dive into offline classes. Thank you, people. To come across these parts in details, you need to join the offline, where I could walk you through in hand how we can build the entire application. Since for the login and logout, we took almost 2 hours to complete and fix our issue. We can move ahead and work around this property rental stuff for in my offline classes and online class. Thank you.